Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2022, September 28th Environmental Commission for the City of Annapolis meeting. If you want to go around and introduce ourselves here, my name is Randy Kenyatta Rao Jr., and I'm the chair of the commission. And Allison Colden is the vice chair of the commission, and she's not here today. So we'll be talking about that, giving her a nice update. Anybody want to go next?
All right, it's Bill O'Leary, Commissioner from Ward 2.
Jeremy Hansen, Commissioner, Ward 5.
That's all we got, huh?
Yeah, and it's Racine Hodo, City of Annapolis, off the city manager's office.
Okay. All right. So what is everybody able to take a look at the agenda? Just want to make sure everybody could see that.
Yes, I did. And I also chatted with Paul. He is traveling and hopes to join later, but can't join right now.
Okay. And
I'm sorry. I'm also looking, so we currently only have 5 members, correct?
yes.
So we actually still have a quorum tonight.
And how many do we need for a quorum?
Just a majority of current members.
Got it.
But we really need some people.
Yeah, because if 1 or 2 people are absent, there goes, that's tough. Yeah. So we've been making some moves, me and Allison, actually, to do some outreach. So hopefully I think I had a few people apply. So hopefully we'll be getting some word pretty soon on some stuff. So
Do we know when they applied?
I believe I remember seeing that maybe like a few weeks or a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Racine, is there any way to get those names in front of the mayor and then to the Environmental Matters Committee? Is there any way we can hurry that process along?
Hillary oversees all of that. I mean, I can nudge her along, but I can't guarantee what, how fast she would do something. I can ask her to, push something along though.
Yeah, I mean, we're 5 of 9, so it's really low.
Yeah. I mean, if you'd like, I can absolutely contact Hillary and ask her to, move things along for any of those that are applying for the AEC. Do you know the couple of applicants? Do you guys know who they are?
I saw in the email, yeah, but I don't know that off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
But I have a few potentials that I've been working with myself, so I guess I should probably.
Yeah, if you forward that information to Hillary,
Okay.
ask her to expedite, if possible. But I'll go ahead and I will send an email to her regarding new members.
Thank you.
No problem.
And did everyone get a chance to review the minutes from July? Was it July? Or
It was July. There was no meeting in August.
right.
I have to abstain, which means I don't think we can approve the minutes because I was absent in July.
Okay.
So these minutes are going to be moved to the next meeting for approval.
Yes.
And okay, so moving right along here. So what we wanted to do today, and we kind of touched on this in July, and we found the document, and so hopefully tonight with the three of us and whoever else we can get to commit to a certain department or committee from the 2022 priorities, which we're going to use as kind of the frame for the different committees. And so let me see if I can I'm gonna see if I can pull that up and share my screen so that maybe we can, is that okay? To share my screen, is that possible?
Randy, you should be able to share your screen.
Okay. All right. So let's do that. So can everybody see?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we wanted to just go through and look at these different subcommittees, and I do believe we did this, but somehow the notes didn't get formalized, and so if you can remember, that's great. But we'd like to just put your name next to one of these categories if we can, or two. So if anybody has any memory of where they put themselves, you could just type that, type it in the chat, or you can tell me now while I'm looking at the document here. Or we can make that homework for our next meeting. You can write into this document, so you can actually just put wherever you want your name to be.
Yeah, I still prefer to wait until we can maybe get another couple members. And just if there's particular needs as they come up, talk about them as a group or ask for volunteers then, but I don't see much point dividing up the whole list while we're down to just 5. If we're gonna get a couple more members, hopefully in the next couple months.
Okay.
If we can at least have the top ones covered that we know are always ongoing issues like development permits and some legislation, I think we're fine for now.
Good point. So we'll table that. And but in the meantime, between time, if people want to review it, it's in the Google Drive. Should be able to access that.
Yep.
Did anybody want to report on any activities or duties from the priorities anyway? Any updates on that? So even though we do have a small group, anybody have any updates on anything related to that?
I just have one story to tell, and that is that, I'm sorry. I didn't realize my video wasn't started. A couple weeks ago, I participated with this group called Save Our Trees Annapolis. Their focus is on invasive English ivy. And we did some work at Truxton Park a couple Saturdays ago. And we were able to clear ivy and a lot of trash out of a fair section of woods. And this is a recurring effort that is going to be expanding to other areas, but Truxton Park really needed it. And was really happy with that work. I can send out a link to their webpage and need as many volunteers as possible because there's an endless amount of work to do in and around the city to try to remove English ivy off of these mature trees, starting with those common areas, but also educating homeowners to do the same on their individual property. So it was a good event.
That's great. I went to one as well at the library.
Oh, good.
And I think they had some books they had there, and they should share some stories. What I told them, what I shared in that meeting was that I've been working with some companies, some groups as well to formulate kind of English Ivy task force type of teams as well. So I'll be working with them as well. So
Great.
I think that education part is also important, and even tying it into some of the replant Annapolis work that they're doing.
Absolutely.
Wise too, since they already are working with residents on different green infrastructure aspects.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really easy way to save mature trees, and I think a lot of people don't realize just how dangerous the ivy is. It will definitely kill mature trees. We see it all the time. So,
Yeah. Yes.
and there's an endless amount of work to be done. So it's a great volunteer project, and doesn't require much in the way of skills or tools. So it's a good thing to get into.
Yeah, plus it also engages well with the faith-based organizations. I know I coordinated one with my church maybe like 2 years ago. Asbury Broadneck United Methodist Church, where we did an English Ivy removal of all of those, and it was well, pretty nice turnout.
Good.
Something to get the congregations and the community engaged, some environmental organizations. All right, so moving right along, the next on the schedule, the new business. One thing we did want to report out on was the plastic bag ban, and that's a memo that was came from Allison worked on, and we just shared out. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, has everyone had a chance to see it and look at it, or can access it at least?
Yeah, I've been looking at it since I signed on.
Good. So we can talk about that next time we meet, but definitely that's something we want to have some feedback on, edits, or recommendations. And I believe the document is live as well, so you should be able to throw some comments in there if you like to add some edits there in the right column. And moving right along, we have a report from Racine and Jackie Guild. Are you all ready to share, Racine?
Okay, just to let you know, Jackie had requested to be on the agenda for tonight, but has been called away on something else. So
Yeah.
she won't be here tonight. I don't have anything new to report on Replant Annapolis. What I would need to do probably within the next few days would be to check in with both Brian Adams with the city and Suzanne Etkin with WSA to see if they're on target to do their planting now that we're moving into the fall. Because it was my understanding that the cohorts or the cohort was working on planning their projects during the summer for planting during the fall. So I would need to know how many projects they have going and if they're on target to plant this fall. I can check on that and get back to you before Friday this week.
Okay. Fantastic. Thanks, Racine. And
Yeah, Hawkins Cove and the Waterways Cabinet. I don't think that Hawkins Cove has changed since Jackie reported in July. What happened was the city wrote, and it took a lot of back and forth and working with the legal department and making sure We were doing what we need to do there. They finally put together an RFP, but the funding is coming from the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. And so they have their own sort of writers for RFPs. So because the funding is coming from CBT, CBT wanted to take a look at the RFP to make sure it was in line with what they were looking for from the funding that they gave to us for the project. So last I heard, which was last week, we're still waiting on CBT to finalize that RFP for Hawkins Cove.
And that's, you said the Chesapeake Bay Foundation?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, because they're the funding source.
gotcha.
So
you
for
went
the funds that we have now, we also put in a grant application through National Fish and Wildlife Service. Eric Lashinsky wrote that grant. I assisted him in writing that. But I don't think we've heard anything back on that grant either. So there are two, there are two there's a grant that has been awarded to the city and a grant we're waiting for Hawkins Cove.
Okay. And you say you're waiting for CBT to review the RFP announcement?
The RFP, yeah.
Cool. I wonder how in conjunction that is with some of the other programs they have at CBT. So, okay.
The Waterways Cabinet, I think there's a meeting that's going to happen in October. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I know there was a save the date, I think, for October 18th. But I don't know if that has been finalized or not.
Okay.
So there's a meeting coming up.
All right.
The MER project, Jackie is really working very closely with that project, so she would have to update you on any changes that have happened. But I think there's a meeting of stakeholders that's due to be scheduled sometime soon. Now that they've taken a look at potential projects and kind of focusing on which projects rise to the top for priority projects. But that again will come from Jackie.
Okay. And yeah, nothing from environmental matters or quiet waters. I know that the expansion of the U.S. Navy golf course has been halted. Bill, do you want to speak to that? Do you have any info on that? Or
I don't have any information on it.
It's been halted. My understanding is that it's only been halted because the county has put in a request for use of that land as well as the golf course has. So when the golf course was the only interested party in that land, then they had a certain avenue of approval that they had to do. But now that the county has put in a counter proposal for what to do with that land, it kind of nullifies the path forward, or at least the current approval process for what the golf course was trying to do. So it doesn't mean that the golf course isn't going to get their way. It just means that they now have to follow a different approval path to, add their 18-hole golf course in Greenberry Point.
Good.
That's my understanding.
So do you think that more advocacy needs to take place about that project, or just kind of staying close in tune with it maybe?
I think it's a little early. I think it's, in my opinion anyway, it's good news that the county executive is seeking to make it a park, and that there's been an awful lot of, public commentary about Greenberry Point. So they certainly weren't the Naval Academy Athletic Association, or whatever the private golf course association is. They were not able to, take the path that they wanted to take to get approval for it. But I think it's too early to say what our next avenue of action is.
Good.
So we'll have to just keep an eye on it.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Racine. Did you have anything about the integrated pest management policy? Or is that Jackie again?
Well, we have been working actually for a while on revising the city's integrated pest management policy. And that's what Jackie wanted to speak about, because I think she's going to try to put it in front of the Environmental Matters Committee at their next meeting in October. But the specifics of the policy, she's going to have to discuss. But that's what she would have been talking about tonight specifically, that she's not available for.
Well, that's great, because we've been talking about trying to advocate for seeing some of these issues as an environmental problem. So that's great. I'm glad to see that she's moving forward with that legislation, because ultimately, honestly, in my opinion, I feel like some type of legislation needs to be proposed, period.
Yeah.
Speak to that. So in that regard, we have a guest here, Evan White, to speak about that issue. So Evan, do you want to share your
I
thoughts?
sure can. I'm Heaven White. I'm a resident of Eastport Terrace and Harbor House. I'm an advocate in my community because this is the forgotten part of the city. When everyone's talking about what's going on in environmentally speaking, the low income areas of the city are left out, and that's exactly where you're seeing what you don't want to see. Speaking on the mice, it's passed out of control. We have residents who have been moved out of their home because it was so many mice. But then you still have people stuck in their homes. I'm working with one person trying to get her moved. She has an infant that she can't sleep. They can't sleep in their beds. They sleep sitting up in a chair because the home is overrun with mice. They're in the walls. Earlier today, I was outside walking around normal, surveying the neighborhood. Mice, broad daylight, running back and forth, right across the playground. The children are running off the playground because the mice are running on the playground. And as the season is changing, we notice the time of year, mice are everywhere. But Robinwood, 20, Eastport, and I want to say Bywater now, they're working with some folks there, completely overrun with mice. And I don't see how that's not something that is being talked about more often. It's I just can't even express to you how bad the infestation is here in these low income areas, and how it's not fair that folks look right past it.
What about the mold? I know you said some things about mold.
Now, I've been advocating about the mold for probably 6 years now. I have a book that I walk around with when residents call me and said that they have issue with mold, write down their name, address, number, contact information, and I also go into homes and take pictures. I have been in homes where elderly people stay that are on oxygen, and they have mold in the oxygen hoses. Children are living here with rashes on their skin. Um, so many children in these areas, low income areas where the mold is taking over the entire units, are having so many respiratory issues. So many children on nebulized. I've never seen so many asthmatic and children with bronchitis. It's a mixture of two things. All the mice feces that you can see when you go in people's homes when they turn on certain twist the light bulb in the ceiling, and mice poop is falling out of the socket. Or when you go to clean a vent, mold and mice poop is in the vents where the air and heat that blows into our home it's coming from. It's the mold. I myself was moved out of my home, and the home that I'm in now, I was moved from one place to another. Mold all over it, the whole building.
So one of the main reasons why we wanted to talk about it from an environmental standpoint, because it is a nature-based issue. It is, and it does cross into the environmental industry and sector. And this isn't to step on anyone's toes, like Dewan, Alderman Dewan, who's doing what he's doing with the housing. This is just a mere opportunity to raise more awareness about this issue, so that maybe even if there are environmental scientists or science from a science perspective that would like to offer themselves to gather research or work with residents to raise the issue about showcasing some of these issues. So that was the main reason why. Also with safety, it is a safety issue, but the safety, if we're encouraging people to go outdoors more, plant more trees, and get engaged with the environment, environmental literacy, how important is it that we also, they are able to do that in a safe way.
Yeah, what you're talking about is indoor air pollution. Would this mainly be HACA housing? I mean, I'm trying to think of who is responsible for cleaning this up.
I think whoever all right, well, let me say this. We live inside with it, but this is an environmental thing.
Mm-hmm.
The conditions that cause mold in the home is outside too. The humidity in the summertime, when the weather changes around here and everything, my home changes with it. You talking about reaching out to HAC or HUD? They need to be further educated on what's going on. There's education missing on mold, because they'll come right in this house uneducated. I was certified by the EPA, trained here right on public housing property. Sherwin-Williams Paint Company came in, they certified us EPA how to recognize and remove mold. I had people, now I learned that I'm certified. People from housing that come right here and look me right in my face and tell me that's not mold, it's mildew. Spray bleach water on it, wipe it off, and guess what's happening to my home within 30 days? Overrun with this mold again. There is hacker and city officials doing these inspections and everything here need to be further educated. We're not doing this to ourselves in our homes. It's coming from the environment that we're living with it in our homes.
Thank you, Heaven.
Yeah, thank you.
Does anybody have any questions, comments for Heaven?
Well, I'm gonna say that, well, this is really outside of what I do as far as having a full understanding of this, but I'm going to reach out to, I know in planning and zoning that Denise Ruffin works with public housing. I'll reach out to her, and I will reach out to John Manassas, who is Manasseh, who is the chief over the inspectors that inspect the HACA properties. My understanding is the repair that the city has partnered or works with HUD to do inspections on public housing units, but then it's up to HUD to do the repair and the fixing of everything. So I don't think that's anything that's in the city's budget to do, but I will reach out to planning and zoning to see where they stand, so that I can get back to you and say, okay, this is how it's really actually handled. And maybe that's a starting point with an outreach campaign, is knowing exactly who does what.
Yeah, that's a good point. And maybe, if there isn't something in the budget, maybe there's some type of recommendations we could make that it should be, or some type of backup
Yeah,
for when HUD may be slow to remedy things, maybe
yeah,
you could move in and provide, even if it's minor mediations.
And like I said, a lot of the HUD and HACA people are uneducated. You said slow to move. That's why it's no pep in no one step, but it's people breathing this stuff in, myself included, sick. And moving is not the easy fix, because clearly everyone don't have it like that to move, or we wouldn't be here taking it or suffering through it. But somehow, some kind of way, housing in the city needs backup. The more people on board, the better this thing could be. The more people that could be helped.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, Heather, for your sharing tonight. And your sharing is very important, because what it does is allows for someone who's actually has hands-on experience with the issues from those communities, and get people to kind of understand the importance of it and how it can be framed as also an environmental sustainability issue. Living so close to the water and being a coastal town. And so there's other different aspects, but just want to thank you for sharing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so moving right along. And you're welcome to hang out or just hop off. It's fine. So, the DEIJ discussions, that was pretty much it. There are a few grants and opportunities that are out there that have been working with city members with, and different environmental groups. But mainly a lot of the work has been around, I've been hearing about events coming up, like the Watershed Forum, hosted by the Alliance of Chesapeake Bay, coming up on November 4th through the 6th. I believe it's already booked up, but I'm not sure. So next steps. Next steps, looks like we want to try to get some more members, do some outreach in that regard, and review the plastic bag ban memo, and offer some feedback on that. Next week, we'll look to hear a little bit more from Jackie Gill on updates. We will try to approve our minutes from July in our next call. And we'll have a update from the environmental matters because I'll probably be going to that meeting between now and the next time we meet. So sounds like we got some things to do. Does anybody else want to have anything to share or add or that's been missed or add to?
I'd like to just let you know that I'm at the beginning of this, but I'm putting together an educational sort of website or on the city website for pest waste and teaching people about cleaning up after their pets. I checked around at other municipalities on what they have and whether they had anything in their code, like any kind of fines or anything like that. And I don't really see, I checked Howard County, Anne Arundel County, Prince George's County, and Montgomery County. And they all have sort of an education campaign, educational information on their website. None of them have like an actual policy or anything in their code. So what we would probably do is follow what other jurisdictions are doing and do a sort of outreach campaign to teach people about pet waste and cleaning up after their animals.
Good stuff. Another project in the city that's been coming out is the tornado restoration project in Annapolis Gardens. That was through the Chesapeake Bay Trust, Reverend Samuel Green Foundation that got awarded a grant to plant 61 trees in Annapolis Gardens as a hope to plant trees in public housing communities. It's a Chesapeake Bay Trust grant. There's a push now for other neighborhoods to sign on as well to see how many trees they can plant in their communities, and this continuation of that. So it's another cool activity taking place in environmental justice outcomes coming from environmental justice communities. So pretty cool. Also, the Cars Beach, Altonia Beach project has been, steadily moving along. I heard that they, Blacks of the Chesapeake, the mayor of Annapolis, and the Chesapeake Harbor, I think is the name of the neighboring community, we're planning to meet, I think tonight, at a town hall meeting to discuss partnerships and relationships and things like that. So another great activity.
Yeah.
We had the Kunta Kinte Festival last weekend. That was pretty neat. On the water, me and my daughter rode our bikes there to not deal with the traffic, and it was actually very fun. It was very less stress. Not having to worry about parking and where to park and traffic. We just got on our bikes and rode down there, rode around, and rolled on out of there. So I kind of see what the mayor means now as far as like this whole biking and just, at least when it's downtown and it's packed, it's that supreme traffic. It's almost like if I feel responsible now, just, being one less car in the mix if possible, so. And see the garage project is coming along. Also see there's a demolition going on over at the city. I guess that's a state government building right there next to the State House. Have y'all seen that? I can't hear you, Bill.
Oh, sorry. It's the Legislative Services Building.
Right. And that looks to be going pretty well. What else? I saw this really cool thing the Chesapeake Bay Trust was doing, where they're doing like this tree planting campaign where they're going to be doing it at several different locations at once. I think they're trying to plant a total of 5,000 trees, I think, or 500, something like that. And so kind of a new approach they're looking to do it by just doing it at several locations at one time. So like a marathon type of thing. It's pretty neat concept. And we had the state fair recently, or county fair recently at fairgrounds a couple of weeks back. Took my family out there. Did anybody else go to that?
I didn't.
They had a really cool farm contest, you know, with the farm animals and all the different tractors they had out there, and agriculture stuff. They had a camel and all kind of goats and pigs. I mean, I was looking for Charlotte's wedding. It was a really cool experience. That was my first time actually going to something like that in real life in person. So my kids got to get engaged. So that was neat. So that's about it. If anybody doesn't have anything else, I think I will, you know, just look for an email. I'll kind of shoot out some of the direct notes from tonight as far as our next steps and our activities for between now and our next meeting. All right. Well, I guess we can have a vote to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Meeting adjourned. You guys have a great rest of your week, and see y'all next time.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
See ya.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.